What's going on YouTube? What are you guys up to? Welcome back to the channel. You guys are watching Jaeger Wrenching. My name is Chad, and today I hope you guys like this sick little intro that I did for you guys. The bummer is I did all this filming at this car show we have, and it was awesome and I got a lot of good footage, and then I was an idiot and I deleted all of it, and now I'm like, Luckily, that little beginning clip of that car's from Sweden. It has like 405 billet parts on it. It's really awesome. It's been stretched. I mean, you name it, that car's had it. It is freaking amazing. And it's twin turbo. Like, it has everything you can think of. The sound system, the interior, like, it is a really sweet car, guys. Nonetheless, I shot that and I was editing it and I deleted the footage. Anybody that edits typically knows you have to have the footage saved on your computer or on your card. Well, I was pulling from my card and then I erased it all. So what happened is I couldn't finish the edit. So basically it was in the program and I just recorded my screen with the camera while I still could, and then I went back and put the music over it and stuff. So I hope you guys like that little beginning intro in that. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys like that or want to see more like that, and I'll definitely do some more edits that way. But today, I want to talk about what we're going to be doing to the car. I know, because this is the future and I'm editing, but I know what happened. So, I want you guys to take a guess what you think's wrong with the transmission. We don't know everything for sure. I'm still going to take it to a transmission guy, but we found a big problem while we were doing this. So, let's go ahead and jump into that and look at that. And here we go. Alright, now that we're in here, guys, we can check it out. Go ahead, look at this. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Alright, so, this is it. If you guys see right here, this is our shifter. But you can just go side to side. There's no forward or back. It's stuck. So that being said, guys, we're gonna go ahead and pull the tranny out of this. I gotta get changed because I'm in nice clothes. Well, I'll see you guys when I get back from getting changed, and then we're gonna start this whole process. I also brought home some tools from work, so hopefully we have everything we need to be able to get this done. So alright guys, so we're back. I got changed. It's actually the next day. I got caught up doing some stuff with trading on Bitcoin. Bitcoin was going down. And I was like selling and buying and doing some stuff there. So, long story short, it's going up today. We'll have to see what it's doing. But, back onto this girl here, we got to pull the friggin' tranny out of it. So, I guess let's go ahead and get started on that, because I want to get it out and see what's wrong with it. And I'm sure you guys do too. So, let's get on with it. We got to get the drive shaft out. That's going to be, I think we're going to take the exhaust off, then the drive shaft out, and then we'll go from there. So she is. Thanks, babe. Can you thank my beautiful girlfriend? See, guys? Thanks, Joe. Alright, guys, and I got my 9/16 wrench with a 9/16 socket. We're going to use that to take these exhaust clamps off. Right there. Take those two off. And I also got to reach up there. You can see I've done these O2s. I got to reach up and do the other O2s, undo them. So, and then also my wideband on the other side. I'm just going to unscrew it and thread it back in. Alright, so we got those undone. Those two, the two primary narrow band sensors unplugged. And now I got this wrench kitty. And we're going to undo this guy right here. This is the wideband. Alright guys, so I got my drain pan here. You can see it's really clean inside. I still have to go up to the top to remove the shifter. Made a little bit of a mess there, guys. That's okay. That's why I got a rubber mat on my floor and got gloves on. Alright guys, as you can see, it doesn't look that bad. This tranny fluid probably has about 8,000 miles on it. 8,000 hard miles. Look, you can even see yourselves, guys. What? But it does have a little bit of a sheen to it. You can see, which is pretty normal for transmissions with, you know, synchros and banging gears. You're gonna have a little bit of metal on metal wear, but the big thing is we don't see any big chunks in here, because that would mean We have gear problems, which I didn't think we did, because the tranny would always go into gear and stay in gear and didn't make any noises while in gear. So something inside's broken on the shifting, like shift fork, some sort of shift linkage, shift rod, something like that. I don't know too much about transmissions. Yeah, and these little pieces you see, that's just like tree and bush that was in here. It was pretty much clean, but that's just blown in from the outside. But if you look in the bottom, looks pretty good, looks pretty clean. So on to the next. Let's get these bolts out. So somebody put a big old nut in between there because they need to take up space. That's why you don't buy bolts with big shanks on them. You buy a bolt that's threaded the entire way. Yes, this is technically stronger here, but we're holding exhaust. It doesn't need to be 1,000,000 pounds. So don't buy bolts with shanks on them for your exhaust. There you guys go, the exhaust is out. So all we gotta do now, guys, is get the shifter up top out. Okay guys, and then the next thing we gotta do is get our Allen in here, which is like a lock screw. Now that it's loose, our knob will turn. It's pretty weird looking. But there we go, guys. So I thread this guy all the way on because I want him to be as short as possible for the shortest throws, because obviously if I leave him up higher, it's going to be a little bit longer of a throw, which you can do, and people tend to forget. Obviously don't put it on like 2 threads, put it on like 5 turns, 4 or 5 turns, that's probably good enough, and then, you know, lock it down. But I like mine all the way down for shorter, crisper shifts. So there we go, you guys can see my shifters here. I have this piece of, I have my handle tilted slightly towards the driver too to make it a little easier, but I also have this piece of foam that they give you, and I just stick it in there just like that. It has a sticky side you can take and peel off, but I don't, because I want it to be able to be easy to remove, especially since I know the tranny's gonna have to come in and out for clutch installs and that type of stuff, and every time you do it you'll destroy it. And I'm using this specifically as just sound deadener, and they come with the MGW, so I'm using the factory rubber on top of using that, and it seems to make a big difference. So now I got to get the Allens to loosen this to get the brick off the shifter, and then we're going to pull the bolts also out of here. These are 8mm, I believe. Holy crap, guys. So that could have been part of my problem this whole time, that these guys are all loose on the shifter. Wow. I just noticed that, guys. That's insane. Every single one of these bolts, and they have lock washers on them, and I put Loctite on them, are loose. So this whole thing is loose. That's definitely not good, guys. I remember tightening them because I have to use a stubby to tighten them. They just came loose. That's insane. I am pretty freaking shocked that that happened, guys. So maybe I didn't tighten them good enough. Maybe the Loctite wasn't good enough. Maybe there was too much oil on it when I did it. There's lots of things that can cause that, but that is on me, and I will own up to my mistake. As you guys can see, this guy's kind of cut on the top side from getting beat around like that. I may or may not replace it, we'll see. As long as the gasket's whole around the outside, that's pretty much all you care about. So I think I'm going to reuse it. But if you look down here in this cup, this part is beat up, and that is not a good sign, guys. That's not good that that thing is beat up like that. That means it was definitely trying to come out of it. And yeah, that's definitely not good. Now we got to go underneath, or from up here, and disconnect all the harness. Now, guys, we're going to take these bolts out of the tranny cross member and then drop it down some. That's going to give us the clearance we need to get the bolts around the tranny to the bell housing, and then we'll be able to take those out and take it out. Alright guys, so we're pretty close to having it out. All the bolts are out. Oh, I got the jack under here. It's just a little nerve-wracking trying to control all of this at the same time. So basically, I think what I'm gonna do is get my girlfriend to come in here and maybe help me a little bit with this. It's just really hard to control the tranny on a crappy floor jack without like a strap to hold it to it or anything. So I mean, the jack's gonna support the weight. It's just difficult. I'm gonna have to have her like lower the jack down once I like grab it and we slide it out. So let me go get her.
Would it help if I jack this up in?
Yeah, jack it up a little bit. Jack it up a little bit more. Okay.
You want me to pull out any?
Jack it up a little bit more. Okay, right there. Okay, pull back a little bit. Okay, stop right there. Come down. Okay. Come back. Okay, come down. Oh. Alright.
Careful.
Come down a little bit. That's it. Yay!
We did it.
We did do it. Smacking me on the head.
Watch that cord.
She's basically out. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna move all these blankets over here. We're gonna pull it out on that side so we can take a look at it. Alright guys, she's coming out. I got my girlfriend. Thank you, baby, for pulling her out. Woo-wee. There she is. That's not too bad. I thought this had more play than it did. The input shaft's pretty good. Throwout bearings in good shape, which are good signs. Now I think I'm gonna pull the front cover off, but we gotta go to the store and get some stuff. So a big thank you from us. Thank you, babe. She helped me out, helped me get it out. So we're gonna go to the store because she wants to go to the store. So I'm gonna change and get cleaned up, and we're gonna go do that, and then I'll come back and we'll take this thing apart and we'll see what's wrong with it later. Okay, so we popped this off and looked in here. Everything looks good, and then I put the shifter back on, and actually I think the shifter was stuck because it goes into gear. You can see it. It goes side to side and does everything it's supposed to do. So we're gonna take this guy apart, take it out, and then we're gonna set it. We have our own little man-made. It's on my little roller, and then we're gonna set it through the center of this old wheel and stand it up, and then we're gonna take this guy apart and see what it looks like on the inside. We don't need no broken sensor. All right, well, we got the case half off. Sorry, you guys missed that. The camera didn't record for some reason, but all it was to get that back piece off is on this guy. There's a roll pin. You just knock the roll pin out for the cup that the shifter rides in, and then take all the bolts out of it, and it slides off.
Reluctor wheel?
Yep. For your speedo.
Yeah. Is that bushing?
I don't know what that is.
Output shaft. Here's a little bearing for that guy. Look at all that, dude.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of little metal flaker rakers on there.
Yep.
But, oh, is that a chunk, dude? Ooh, that is.
Chunky
you guys
monkey.
see that? There's a chunk right there. So, I'm sure there's something else going on in here that we can't see because most of this up here actually looks pretty good. And the pads, you can see the pads are right there. I don't know, can you guys see that? There's a pad right on that guy that actually touches that.
I think this is like 4th, 5th, and 6th, or 5th, 6th in reverse or something.
Yeah, I think this is
All
reverse
yeah,
right
all the
here.
mains are.
See how the teeth are super fine on these gears and they're bigger on this? I think this is reverse. And that also gives you a shorter gear, right, for, I think that's what it is. Don't quote me. I'm not a T56 guy. Now I don't even know what we have to do.
Reverse isn't synchronized, is it? There's a synchro right there.
I think reverse is synchronized on T56s.
Oh.
Alright, just broke all these top bolts loose. We flipped it around, put it in the bucket, put the back half back on it. So now we're going to hopefully try and pry it. There should be, sometimes they have pry spots on them. There's one over here. A little over here on this guy.
Go back over here.
Well, it's this side over here needs to come up.
Here she goes.
Alright, here she goes. That's the race for that. And the shim. Okay guys, so that's basically it. We got the tranny out, you know, looked at it a little bit. I don't see anything crazy. We don't see anything crazy. This is 4th gear because this is 1-to-1, so this is a 4th gear synchro when it locks up here on your input shaft. That's why when you go to unsprung clutch like I have, you get a lot of noise and vibration, or NVH, because this is literally locked 1-to-1 with the engine. So instead of that clutch being able to suck up a lot of that noise, you hear it just kind of rattle through, and you'll hear it on the teeth and stuff like that. And I can take this guy, you know, out of here pretty easily. Just like that. So people say, yeah, don't do that, blah blah blah, but if you look, everything seems to look pretty good in there. The synchro itself, the bearings themselves, if you guys look at the bearing on here, this bearing looks really good, along with that bearing in there that rides on the inside of this. So I don't see anything in particular that stands out. I'm gonna have to fight that guy and get him back on. But it's pretty hard to do one-handed. There we go, got it back in there. You can see it's not too hard. So changing an input shaft on these guys, some people make a big deal out of it. It's really, on the Cobras, really easy. It is slightly harder on other T56s, but on the 0304s, you bust that plate off, take the bolts out, and you can literally do what I did, spin that out, and set up your new bearing. The only thing you have to make sure you do, if you decide to do that yourself, is shim this. You see the shim right here? You have to make sure that this is shimmed properly for that cover. I've heard people say they like preload, and factory says you actually need like some, I forget the gap, but preload is obviously the opposite of a gap. It means you're putting pressure on this, whereas a gap means you can slide, you know, something in between there. So, you know, factory recommends a gap. Guys that build them professionally to hold power say put preload in them. So that's all up to you guys, depending on what you want to do. I, however, don't have all the tools to do this myself. I'm really truly debating doing that, going and getting a press and buying you know, a big puller, or at least renting a big puller to be able to pull this guy apart. What I would do is do the opposite of this, put that front cover back on to hold these pieces in place, and probably build myself a table to then take that cover that would hold that cover and everything and flip it around and put it in the table, and then we would disassemble it from the back and, you know, press some bearings off, or get a puller and pull some bearings off and do all that. So if we decided to do that, that's what we do in the basically reverse order, and take it out and be able to pull all this stuff apart. They seem pretty simple, to be honest, now that I've looked at it. It's more about having the tools and the know-how and kind of experience with just knowing how, you know, they go back together and what things should look like more than anything. But if it was me and I had the tools, I would absolutely take this all apart. What I'm going to do is take it to a tranny guy probably within the next day or two, have him look at it and see what he says. Still debating whether or not, I'm probably not going to change this input shaft. Now that I know how easy it is to change it, I'm probably going to leave it a 10 spline if he's like, yeah, everything looks good, just because I have the 10 spline clutch in it already. So I'd rather be able to wear that clutch out with this input shaft, and then when that clutch is dead, then I'll go and upgrade the clutch along with the 26 spline and do them at the same time. And I mean, other than that, I don't have much you can really do to these. You can do a couple like upgrades to the synchros and the shift fork pads and stuff like that, but it's very minimal other than, you know, those few things. The only other option would be go to a T56 Magnum, which these gears get a little bit fatter. Instead of being, you know what I mean, this wide, they'll be that wide. So there's benefits to that, obviously, with holding power and such, but this car doesn't make a ton of power. Actual horsepower right now is somewhere in the 400 horsepower, 420. So, and another upgrade people do is they'll upgrade this to what they say is a I believe a steel slide collar. I don't know that this isn't steel. This already seems steel to me. So yeah, I mean, to be honest guys, I don't see much to be had or done here. If anything, I may change that seal while we're here. Maybe not. It just depends. It actually looks like it's in good shape. Again guys, this transmission only has 26,000 miles on it supposedly. So, and it, to be honest, looks like it has that many miles on it. Doesn't look very used. Everything looks pretty good. The forks look like they're in good shape. The pads, the, you know, collars, I mean, you name it, everything except for one of the gears in here has a little bit of wear on the teeth, and I think it was on the other end. On the other side of that, it looked like the collar had, or the gear itself, where the teeth line up to the synchronizer, they looked like it had a little bit of, you know, marring or starting to roll over a little bit. So depending on what gear that is, if that's like fourth gear, I've never had a problem banging fourth gear. If that's, you know, third gear, I don't know. If it's third gear, I'm definitely gonna get it fixed, and I'll have this guy replace that gear, just because third gear's been my nemesis since day one. I feel like people that don't know how to shift trannies always tend to screw that gear up. But this car also had clutch issues when I first got it, and it wasn't disengaging the clutch all the way. Once I got that all figured out, it was a lot better, but I think part of that was from that. So now that we got that sorted with the clutch and all that, if that is a problem, I'll go ahead and have him fix third gear, and it'll be awesome. I'm kind of hoping it is. That way I can just replace it and then know that third gear will go in super easy, because that's a gear, you know, the most banged and most important gear to grab, in my opinion, is that gear. 1-2 has always been super easy in this car. 2-3's been pretty inconsistent. When I first put the McLeod in, it was really good, but now it's gone down the drain. So we're just gonna go ahead and have him go through it and have him tell me what he thinks. So other than that guys, if you like this video, hit that freaking thumbs up button, smash it. I want to get to at least, let's see, let's try and get like 50 likes on this video. That's a really good goal, I think. That's not very many, but it is a lot too. So if you guys could, smash that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Just kidding, we can't end on peace. You guys got to get the heck out of here.